Jake Paul's controversial victory over Mike Tyson has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, but it's not over yet. Conor McGregor didn't waste time mocking Jake Paul. From taunting him on social media to calling him a jack, McGregor has made it clear he's ready to challenge the YouTube star-turned-boxer.
Jack.
McGregor tweeted that his manager had already set up a potential fight, wishing Jake good luck. Paul's response? A counter-challenge for an MMA fight with no weight class, adding even more fuel to the fire. The stakes grew even higher when Daniel Dubois, the IBF World Heavyweight Champion, directly messaged Jake Paul, offering him a fight for the title. The idea of Paul stepping into the ring with a seasoned heavyweight sparked laughter from Dillian White, who claimed that Dubois would murder Paul in the ring. For White, Paul's YouTuber origins are no match for Dubois' boxing pedigree.
That Daniel Dubois has challenged Jake Paul, if you like, to a fight. How would you see that going?
You know what? I like Jake Paul. I like what he's doing for boxing, but this is getting ridiculous now. And, obviously, I can understand why Daniel would challenge him, because it'd be Daniel's biggest payday so far. As funny as it may seem, considering he's the world champion, Jake Paul is a YouTuber. It'd be Daniel's biggest payday. I get it. And he'll get murdered.
Yeah.
Even boxing promoter Frank Warren called this matchup the worst mismatch of all time, echoing widespread skepticism about Paul's ability to compete at this level.
But now we hear this morning that one Daniel Dubois has been in touch with Jake Paul, direct message him saying, good business on the weekend, but how would you feel fighting for the legitimate heavyweight championship of the world? This is Daniel Dubois calling you out. Let's get it on. I wonder if promoter Frank Warren would like to see that. And of course, Daniel, one of Frank's fighters. Frank, good morning to you.
Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon.
Hello, Frank. Mr. Warren, good morning to you. Did you know that Daniel was going to call out Jake Paul?
No, I didn't. And I mean, I would, at the very worst, that would be, or the best, it would be probably the worst mismatch of all time.
Critics like Tony Bellew ridiculed Paul's imagination, suggesting that Dubois would end the fight with a single jab.
Well, could you see that fight happening? Could you see Jake Paul getting in the ring with Dubois?
Jeff, I mean, I know the boy's got a great imagination, but I don't know what planet he's on, mate. He's just got to be on Mars or somewhere like that to even think about something like that. I mean, listen, it couldn't be sanctioned anyway, that's first and foremost. It's just, it couldn't be right. Listen, we've seen an old Mike Tyson there on Friday night. I was heartbroken to watch it. Yeah. I heard Frank Warren yesterday saying, well, Tony Bellew was a part of it. I actually berated him in front of his face, and I made a mockery of Jake Paul. I wouldn't dare disrespect Mike Tyson.
Despite the ridicule, some experts acknowledged Jake Paul's undeniable influence on boxing. Oliver Spencer noted that Paul's popularity has introduced the sport to younger audiences, inspiring more kids to take up boxing. However, Spencer also warned that Paul's antics risk turning boxing into a spectacle rather than a legitimate sport.
When Jake Paul starts talking about Daniel Dubois, like the influence that Jake Paul's got right now is that Daniel Dubois is DMing him, asking him to fight, because they recognise where the money's at.
Easy money,
Well, that's the thing, Spence. That's the thing, mate. You're 100% right. It can only be a good thing if some of the young kids come into it, but in terms of fitness and discipline, I get all that. The flip side of the coin, mate, it's becoming a bit of a joke. I mean, you're getting top quality fighters. I mean, I even read somewhere that...
Similarly, Simon Jordan admitted that Paul's financial contributions to the sport have been significant. However, he added that if Dubois ever faced Paul, the fight would end in 30 seconds, with Paul knocked out cold.
Because I think he'd want to see his fight on a different trajectory. But if you want to get paid, the one thing you can say about Jake Paul is the amount of finances that he's bringing to the sport. Serrano and Katie Taylor got paid an enormous amount of money because of the deals that this kid is doing with the broadcasters and the audience that he brings. So in some extent, from a boxing point of view, with the undercards that come on as a result of him being involved in something, there is something valuable for boxing there. Daniel Dubois would knock Jason Paul into the next life within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
MMA legend Khabib Nurmagomedov had strong words for Jake Paul, promising to fight him if he defeated Mike Tyson. After Tyson's loss, Khabib reiterated his belief that Paul has much to learn about combat sports. He dismissed Paul's MMA abilities, citing sparring footage as evidence, and claimed that Paul wouldn't survive in a fight against him. For Khabib, this isn't just about boxing. It's about proving that Paul's dominance is limited to hand-picked matches and calculated theatrics.
Did you go out and reach out to Jake?
Yeah, it's like if you wanna fight in MMA, because he never fight in MMA, he don't have experience. We can give him chance. We can sign him.
But he said the only way he would do it is if he fought
with me.
He fought you first. That's the only way he said he would do it.
Come on, Jake Paul. I don't think so. Like in MMA, like couple minutes.
I mean, I think you should bring him in, beat the shit out of him, and then that'll be a good way to start the league, don't you?
Oh my God.
No?
No, it's like, what do you think? He can fight with me?
No, absolutely not. But I think the world kind of wants to see him get knocked out.
Yeah,
right?
I want to see him.
So what better way to do it than an Eagle FC?
He late a little bit because I'm finished.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course we can think about this. Like, I watch his, like, it was sparring, or like I watch some video he doing like MMA with someone. It's like he's like he have to learn a lot, you know.
In a recent interview, Jake Paul acknowledged the overwhelming criticism he faces, stating that people simply want to see him lose. He added that the only way they might witness his defeat is if he steps into the ring with a fighter like Canelo Alvarez. This statement highlights Paul's awareness of his polarizing image and his willingness to address the backlash head-on. For many fans, this comment is seen as yet another example of Paul's calculated bravado, designed to fuel discussions and keep his name in the spotlight.
I mean, genuinely, like, everyone's biggest critique is like, fight a pro, fight this person, fight someone your age. So when I say Canelo is the person, then everyone hates on that. But I'm like, all right, sheep, what do you want? Do you want me to fight someone? Like, people just want to see me lose. So wouldn't the best opportunity to see me lose be going up against Canelo?
Absolutely.
People will never be satisfied with my career until I get flatlined.
However, it also underscores the growing demand for him to face world-class opponents and prove his worth in the boxing world. Andrew Tate, another polarizing figure, has also stepped up to challenge Paul. He acknowledged Jake as a decent kid, but criticized him for defeating an older version of Tyson and embarrassing himself in the process. Tate declared that if Jake Paul needs a lesson, he's the man to deliver it.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see. Perhaps. It's possible. There's nothing's no. Nothing's yes. We'll see. I'll escape this Matrix attack, and perhaps if he needs to be taught a lesson, I'll be the guy to teach him a lesson.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all.
This bold statement aligns with Tate's persona as someone who thrives on controversy, making a potential fight with Paul an enticing prospect for fans. While champions lined up to challenge Paul, boxing insiders and legends weighed in on the aftermath of the Tyson fight. Teddy Atlas remarked that Tyson's performance was influenced by financial necessity, suggesting that his days as the baddest man on the planet are behind him. For Atlas, the fight was less about competition and more about survival.
I mean, they got you. They got you. You know, the guy used to be the baddest man on the planet. He smacks him at the end. You had to watch. You just, everyone was going to be there. You had to be there. You had to be there. Well, we were there. We were with you, and you were there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do more of this. If your response was good, if you guys came out and it made sense, we'll do more of this.
Dana White also pointed to Tyson's visible struggles, mentioning that the legend required a knee brace and had trouble climbing stairs before the fight. Despite these challenges, White noted that Paul failed to capitalize on the situation, further diminishing his victory.
He's not going to knock me out. He's not going to do this. And you saw him. He tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on. And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money, and I know people are mad. You stayed home on a Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? And, you know, this is what Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money, you know? Jake Paul is you know, I don't have to tell you guys. You guys know. Mike Tyson is the A+++ side of that thing. And he was right. Jake Paul couldn't do.
Even seasoned professionals like Andre Ward have urged Jake Paul to face real competition if he wants to solidify his place in the sport. Ward's critique highlights the growing demand for Paul to step away from theatrics and prove himself against genuine contenders.
I can't even entertain it. You got to say my name. Ain't nobody said my name in 7 years. There's a reason for that. You got to say my name. We might be able to talk about it. Maybe something I can think about, but it's time that bro start, you know, he got to fight somebody that's a real threat, because we know he can sell. We know all of that. But what he's after is legitimacy. He's trying to legitimize himself. And Canelo don't take that fight, which he said he wasn't going to do it, man. You got to fight somebody that's going to give you some clout, whether you win or lose.
However, Michael Knowles had a different perspective, calling the outcome of the fight perfect. Knowles argued that any other result would have led to hate for Paul, suggesting that this controversy was an inevitable part of his career.
What was the outcome of the fight? For those who didn't watch, it was a decision, it was a unanimous decision that Jake Paul won, but nobody got knocked out. There wasn't all that much that happened during the fight. It was, some would say, the perfect outcome. It was the perfect outcome in that had Jake Paul got knocked out, the audience would have loved it, but Jake Paul's boxing career would have been over. I don't care that it's Mike Tyson. If a 27-year-old gets actually knocked out, concussed by a 58-year-old dude, that guy is not a serious boxer. Flip side, if Jake Paul, a 27-year-old, had knocked out Mike Tyson at 58, Jake Paul's boxing career also would have been over, and the audience would have absolutely hated it, and it would have caused all sorts of problems for professional boxing. The way had Mike Tyson won by decision, Jake Paul's boxing career also probably would have been over.
Jake Paul may have defeated Mike Tyson, but he's far from safe. With names like Conor McGregor, Daniel Dubois, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Andrew Tate gunning for him, his next steps will define his legacy. Who do you think will finally end Jake Paul's reign? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Boxy Hub for exclusive fight coverage, analysis, and all the latest updates.